Y'all ready for this? Because I know we are. Good morning, good afternoon, good midday to you, depending upon when and how you're listening. It is Garden America. We are back on the air. Tiger's smiling. Either he's smiling about something else or smiling about me or John or somebody. Yeah, John is back from Hawaii. It's going to be a good show today. What's going on, Tiger? We good?
I am great. I'm just double checking, making sure the computer's running this morning.
Yeah.
My audio is running this morning.
When you look around, like, to make sure that the camera's going.
We're going to really mess up John when he comes in next week, too, because we're all wearing basically the same color sweatshirt.
Oh,
and
that's
that's
right.
the way he determines what show.
Yeah, which show? Before the show, John says, why aren't you wearing the same thing? Oh, I see. It's not today's show yet. It's a previous show. Welcome back. And
you guys always blame me for doing that.
Nobody heard that feedback on the phone.
I'm much quicker to turn it off.
We're like a bunch of giddy girls this morning. Hello, John. Welcome back from
It's good to be back.
The 50th state, 49th state.
Do you know there were only...
The Alaska-Hawaii thing, I forget. One was 59, one was 60.
Yeah, Hawaii was 50.
50, okay, good.
Alaska was 49. But, you know, there were only 2 states out of the 50 that used to be countries, independent countries. Do you know what they are?
Boy, you know what? Well, hold on. That were countries. Because, see, the first thing that comes to mind, I'm not sure that's correct.
So there were states that used to be countries?
Two states used to be countries, independent countries.
Okay.
Texas?
Because we bought Texas still thinks they are. we bought Alaska from the Russians.
That was a territory.
Right. So yeah. I'm omitting here.
Right. That was never a country. Alaska was never a country.
And then
Tiger got it right. So obviously Hawaii.
Right.
Because they used to have a king and a queen.
Yep.
And Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
Did we talk about this also? I found it so interesting when I was there last.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, exactly.
The Republic of Texas. You know, when we went on one of our tours, it was the tour we went to England. There was a post tour to Paris.
Right.
And you didn't go.
Didn't go, but you went.
But we went, and we saw the Texas consulate.
In Paris?
In Paris. They still had it there. It had the Lone Star.
They're waiting. They're still waiting for their comeback.
Well, France was the first person to recognize the independence of Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because at the time they were having, I think it was problems with Spain. And they said, yeah, this will get them. We're going to recognize Texas.
Yeah. Texas, Hawaii.
That wasn't very long. I mean, Hawaii was country much longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Yep.
And then Duke Kahanamoku was after that, but he was the surf guy. But they thought he was king at that time.
The last regent was Queen Liliuokalani.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
But, you know, what was interesting about Hawaii, right, is that all their population came from, you know, Samoa and all those other areas.
Right.
And they would take those boats out to Hawaii. Sometimes they would go back and then come back and forth. Some people would stay.
And it's amazing how they survived those trips.
Right on those boats?
These little canoe kind of. Yes.
And they would go back and forth. Not just like it's one thing to like take a boat, find someplace, land, never go home again. But it's another thing to actually be able to go back.
Especially since Hawaii's in the middle of nowhere.
Right?
Isn't it
if you miss it by just a little bit.
One of the most remote. Not the most, but one of the most.
I think the most remote is in the Atlantic.
Well, there's another one that's off
Midway.
There's one that's off South America too, west.
Do you know I used to work with? I don't know if you knew. Did you ever meet Carol at Plug Connection?
I can't remember. No, not that stands out in my mind. I might have met her.
Okay. Sure. Anyway, she was born on Midway or lived on Midway.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. And now you can't go to Midway. I don't believe.
And then there's Guam, and then there's your favorite, John, Easter Island.
Speaking of Guam, there's also a Christmas Island.
Christmas Island as well.
Yeah.
Halloween.
And then there's atolls. I love atolls.
Do you remember the Rocky and
Garden America?
The Rocky and Bullwinkle atoll that they went to?
Oh, what was it?
It was called, because there's Bikini Atoll.
Yeah, right, Bikini Atoll, which they did all the atomic testing.
Right. But theirs on Rocky and Bullwinkle was no Bikini Atoll.
Oh, we forgot to tell our listeners and our viewers that this has become a history podcast show. It's a history radio show. We scrapped gardening. Hey, I do want a shout out to our main sponsor, Fertilome. They are the reason why we're on the air this year. Thank you to Fertilome, and we would hope that you would support their product. Fertilome, Tiger knows all about their products. I mean, not just fertilizer, Tiger. I mean, fertilizer and then some, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of the best pest control products on the market, fungicides, things like that, and you can only find them in your local independent garden centers.
Such as Mission Hills Nursery here in San Diego.
A lot of organics too, right?
Yep, a lot of very natural organic products. They really focus on trying to make sure that they treat the individual pests and not just those broad spectrum pesticides that just kill everything in your yard.
Right.
So
I treat the pests the way I would want to be treated.
And I don't
I've seen how you handle gophers.
I was going to say
I don't know if you.
I don't blame you, but I'm not sure that makes sense.
Those what were they called in England? Man traps.
Oh yeah, those are terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, big thank you to Fertilome. Please support them. Go to their website. I would imagine it's fertilome.com.
Yes.
Fertilome.com.
I did want to share that when I was in Hawaii, I got to do one of the items on my bucket list.
Cool.
And it was visit the green sand beach. There's only 4 green sand beaches in the world. And one is in Hawaii, the other's in Guam, the Galapagos Islands, and Norway, which seems kind of odd.
Yeah.
Did you bring some samples to share and show?
I brought the sand is green, a kind of an olive green color because it's a semi-precious stone called olivine. And so I brought for show and tell.
Hold it up to your camera right in front.
your
I have
camera,
you on.
yeah.
Okay. I can't.
There you go. It looks gold, but it is green. It is.
Well, it's
green.
an olive green.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's shades of green there.
Yeah, which is cool. And
And look at all the gold in there. You're going to be rich.
well, what was odd is that I wanted to do this, and my wife can't take long hikes. It's a 6-mile hike to the beach.
Just there one way?
Just there one
So
way.
you're talking 12 miles
Right.
round trip.
But there's some local Hawaiians with 4-wheel drives that for $20 will drive you
Oh,
there.
that's perfect. What a great gig that is.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So we drove there, and then when you get there to the cliff, it's kind of walking down the cliffs here at Torrey Pines.
Okay.
It's
like
a little
trail going down to the beach.
right. But when you get down there, the whole beach is olivine. It's
And
awesome.
it seems soft. The sand seemed
Yeah.
soft when you walked on the beach. Did it feel? Because sometimes when you walk on those grainy
Right.
beaches, they
like
actually,
the black sand beaches
yeah, they
are
actually
kind of
hurt
rough.
your feet.
Yeah.
But this seems soft. Was it
Yes.
nice?
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, we had a good time, and I was really happy to be able to do that.
Did this beach, was it more like a cove where it's
It was a
always
cove.
wet sand, or did they have like a dry section? Like when you go to Mission Beach, there's dry sand and then there's
Right.
wet sand.
Right.
Was this all wet or was it dry also?
It was dry towards the top because it did slope down.
Uh-huh.
But I would say most of it was wet, like maybe 70%.
See, I just didn't know if it changed. Sometimes
Right.
depending on how a beach is, made up of, if the wet sand is made up of different sand and then the upper parts are more dirt.
Now, there's some
more
beaches
rock.
in the world where the sand is black.
Right. Yeah,
black
we were
sand
saying that,
beaches.
black sand.
Yeah, we went to black sand
Yeah,
beaches
right.
in Hawaii. They're a lot more common because
Sure.
it's volcanic
Yeah.
rock, right? This also comes from this is from Mauna Loa. When it erupted, it went down and hit water, and so you had an explosion right
Sure.
by the ocean. And then after hundreds and maybe even thousands of years of the waves coming up, washing away the volcanic part of it, olivine is a mineral that's heavier than sand. So that got left
stays.
behind.
Ah.
So much for the
I
geology lesson.
wonder what plants specifically grow in olivine. Not-
There
not
was
olives?
nothing there.
not
But
olives.
volcanic soil is usually very good in nutrients, very rich. I'm not talking about the sand, but
Right.
just in general.
Well, it drains. It drains really well.
We'll give it that. Hey, we've got about a minute to the first break. I know we want to get to your quote of the week, John Bagnasco. Those listening, Facebook Live and Biz Talk Radio, hope you got the newsletter. Hope you read the newsletter. Sorry to say this may come as kind of a drag, but there is going to be a test on the newsletter starting next week. We're going to test you on the articles, the plants, and everything else in there, so please do your best.
Yeah. Make sure to take notes
We
during
want
the
to make
show.
sure that you're getting it and reading it.
Exactly.
Anyway, John.
All right, Brian, the quote is from Gertrude Wister. And she said the flowers of late winter and early spring occupy places in our hearts well out of proportion to their size.
Do you know anybody right now in your life named Gertrude?
Gertrude. I don't. Gertrude Jekyll.
Yeah,
you
but that's a
don't
long
know
time ago.
her.
That's
I know, but I've
Dr.
got one of
Jekyll and
her-
Mr. Hyde fame.
But I do have one of her books in my library.
Okay, we're going to take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio, those on Facebook Live. By the way, no guest today. It's just us.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So you can use and abuse us. Please do on Facebook Live. I'm
So
Brian
if you have
May.
any history or gardening questions, give us a
History, gardening.
Yeah,
John
post it.
Bagnesco, Tiger Palafox, taking a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. This is Garden America. Thank you for sitting through the break, a bit shorter on Facebook Live, a bit longer on Biz Talk Radio, but we do appreciate you supporting our sponsors. And again, today's show brought to us by our good friends at Fertile Loam. So it is us today.
I do
Go
want to
ahead,
make
Tuck, I'm sorry.
one announcement.
Yes.
Is that the Costa Rica trip has been officially sold out.
Let's talk about Costa Rica.
But
It's not our fault, though, because we told you last year sign up, right?
Yeah. But there is a wait list. So pretty much through February, there's potential for people that might, cancel, drop out, change plans.
Right.
So there are people now currently on a wait list. If any of that happens, if you were thinking about it, go ahead, put yourself on that wait list.
Put yourself on the list.
Because if you want to go contemplating going, you might as well get on that list just in case people do drop out at the last minute. You'll have the potential to be able to go on the trip. Lots of fun stuff is planned. We've talked about the trip a number of times.
Who doesn't want to wrestle a wild caiman? Come on.
Yeah. Just to get to the hotel, you have to cross this river and wrestle wild
But here's
caimans.
the thing about that. It's not a bridge. It's a series of alligators that are lined up across the river, and you have to tiptoe and step across them. To get
Aren't
to
there
the other side.
crocodiles there?
Yes.
Yes. You'll be seeing them.
Yes.
Oh, yes. There's,
Oh,
a,
yes.
there's a little
You'll
river.
be seeing
Well,
them.
you've
That
met
sounds like
the-
a threat.
You
There's
met
a,
the.
well, isn't it kind of a canoe river tour?
It's yeah. I hear it's a 3-hour tour.
That's not good.
Oh,
You know what happened to them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for those of you that are interested in the Costa Rica trip still, you can still sign up, be on the wait list. There is potential, but we are officially sold out. We're excited to go with the people that have signed up.
Absolutely.
Lots of fun stuff planned still.
Well, there's 2 of them we're not that excited about.
Well, hopefully they're not listening
I
right.
thought there was 3. Okay. Yes. And go to our website, gardenamerica.com.
Yeah.
All the itineraries there. Plus, while you're there, there's a lot of other stuff to check out.
Right.
Shame on you if you haven't been to our website in a while or never have been.
I've been busy.
You're the exception. Okay, well, I want to get to a couple of questions.
All right.
Another one is, John, did you take pictures of Hawaii?
I did.
He did.
In his mind.
No, I also have some on my phone here. I don't know.
Yeah, why don't you hold the phone up to the camera? That'll work.
Well, I think Tiger does that.
We'll do our best to somehow.
Yeah, we'll get some
those on our
pictures from
website?
John and then put a post as a
we will
post.
do that.
Now, Carla wanted to know if I went to Volcanoes National Park.
Thank you for having your phone turned on. I
Yes,
appreciate
and
that.
not only did we go, while we were there, my wife said, "This is so intriguing. You should include it in your book." I'm writing
Oh, yeah, that's right.
a fictional book, and so I did. I got a chapter in that includes that. But the day we were there, they had I think they said 6 earthquakes. So they were thinking that the volcano was going to erupt. Kilauea, I think it was. But it was raining, so maybe not as nice as it could have been, but we did get to feel the steam vents, and we did get to go into a lava tube.
How did that smell?
Maybe it's just me because
Right.
Don't have a
because
good smeller.
You're what do you call that? Olfactory challenged?
Either that or I just can't smell that good anymore.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, I asked Shannon and Jesse, my son, who was with us too, and they said they didn't smell any sulfur.
Sulfur. Right. Okay.
Right.
Did I tell you that when we went to the Big Island, we went to the volcano, and we arrived there, and everybody's leaving. Rangers, public, everybody.
That's
and
usually
they have
a good
these,
sign.
And they have these little sulfur meters that all the Rangers wear, and all of them are blaring.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, wow. Like,
This not this last time.
no. This
Okay.
was years ago.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, that's crazy. And they're like, yeah, so we're evacuating the area, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, does that happen often? And the guy's like, no, it's the first time it's ever happened. I'm like,
What?
We should go. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but we should go. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, but
It's like the
so
old
you
saying,
never know.
If you see a bunch of people running away from a volcano, you should probably
you should
follow
probably go
them.
with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
join the group.
Exactly.
Did you finish your thought, John?
Which one?
Let's see.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
talking
okay,
about-
we're good. I want to
Wasn't
make
it 20 seconds ago? There's no way I can remember
okay,
that.
so
We have more questions.
hey,
Gina. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
going to mention Tanya up in
Oh, yeah.
San Jose wants to know if your nursery's okay
Oh,
after
yeah.
the rain.
Totally fine. Totally fine. The
Now,
nursery.
how much rain did you get?
I don't have a rain meter out there,
Okay.
but I mean, San Diego, what did we get? 4 inches during this last storm?
Well, I can tell you this. Last Saturday,
Now, how could you only get 4 if I got 16?
You get in this last storm or from the beginning of the season?
No, from
This
the
last
week
week.
the week that I went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
which was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So from that week till yesterday was 14 inches.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't know. Maybe we did get more.
we drained our fountain last Saturday because it was a sunny day.
Mm-hmm.
Completely drained it. It's overflowing full, and that's a good 6, 7, 8 inches,
Okay. Yeah.
and it's overflowing.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I don't know what the rainfall totals are.
You know,
but,
John and I
But as
have
far as the
telepathy.
nursery, we're good. Yeah, because the nursery is located on a canyon. So
Right.
the nice thing about it
You
is
have
like
good drainage.
everything just flows right through the nursery.
Heirloom Roses I think I forwarded you guys a copy of it, right? The Heirloom
I saw that. That's
Roses put
beautiful.
out a newsletter.
And your granddaughter's mentioned.
And, well, she's mentioned because I named a rose after
Right,
her.
right.
Yeah, so Gina in Idaho is saying that they've got the rose on sale. And it lives up to its name. She's so sweet.
I love that. That was adorable.
When are we going to get it? Tiger and I get a rose named after us. How many years
When he finds
we've been together?
When he finds a black hard rose, thorny.
Yeah, one that nobody wants.
Yeah, exactly.
One that goes to the auction and sells
Brian Maine rose.
sells for $5 at the auction because that was the starting bid.
I might have some, I told you I potted up 100 seedlings, and including some Manhattan blue crosses that to see what
We'll
those.
see what happens.
You'll see what you were missing, Tiger.
Yeah.
But anyway, this spring, I might have some roses that can be named.
This is going to be the year, huh?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is-
I have
What is it? A sports team?
Two-
This is the year. They're gonna make it.
2 step-granddaughters that I had promised to name
Oh,
roses
yeah.
after years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. So I have to do that. And then Joel, our buddy Joel,
Right.
his wife passed away a couple years ago and
Promised him.
promised to name one after her.
Bad segue, but for those of you that do follow the
1 minute, by the way, to the break.
nursery, our longtime manager at the nursery, her name was Michelle.
I saw
passed
that.
away this week
Was that
from a heart
unexpected?
attack. From a heart
Unexpected?
attack.
Was
Yeah,
she?
unexpected?
I've met her. She was young, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
somewhere
Or
between
at least compared to me.
yeah, well, somewhere between my parents' age and my age, like as far as
Wow.
it's not and not expected,
Right.
no,
It just happened.
no precondition of it, kind of a thing, just kind of a shock. So that
Well,
my heart,
condolences to everybody at the
Yeah.
nursery.
I recall her as being really knowledgeable.
yes, wonderful woman,
Yeah.
And she'd been there how long?
over 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break. On that note, come back. Our next segment's a longer segment, one of our longest ones, John. This is one of your favorite segments coming up.
Really?
Want to remind people of
Looking
that.
forward to
Those on Facebook, we'll get to your questions, your comments. Keep them coming. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for tuning in. It is break time as we continue. It's February. We are broadcasting live. Well, for Biz Talk Radio, it was last week's show. We broadcast from the iHeartMedia and Entertainment Studios located in beautiful San Diego, California. Stay with us. Garden America continues. We continue. Brian Main, John Begnasker, Tiger Palafox. The A-team is here, your garden buddies. And again, whatever's on your mind, we are the guests today. You got a history question. I'm sure we can tackle that. But we are talking gardening, landscaping, talking roses. John's going to name roses after Tiger and I once he filters through his family. Personal family comes first. We understand
Gina's
that.
already got the request for a Garden America rose as well.
Well, you know, now that we're talking about naming roses, our buddies at Heirloom Roses are going to have a rose naming, rose naming contest. And I think we need to maybe get them on the show when we find out.
Well, that'd be
details.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little under the weather, sorry.
No, but you made it in. So if every time I come up with a name, John's like, no, I think that one.
I don't think he's taken one of yours.
No, he had a really good one.
Yeah. But no, what I'm saying is John is pretty much knows most, if not all, the roses.
Right.
So he'll say, no, that one's taken.
Right.
Scent of a Woman.
That was your best name ever. But then, you know, like, what did Solomon say? There's nothing new under the sun.
Under the sun.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
And someone in Europe named one. They called it Scent of Woman. So that's not really as good as Scent of a Woman.
It's not, but it's too close to
right.
pass muster if somebody were to say, nah, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Carla has a question for you, John. And she's speaking of the Kendall Marie rose. She says hers has a habit of a small climber. Is that typical? It's in a pot.
It's not really a small climber, but it does put out arching branches. So if you had it in a pot, it might look like a climber. So you could grow it as, if you staked it up, you could grow it as a pillar rose maybe.
Billy Barty was a small climber.
Okay.
Well, I could have said Mickey Rooney, but I thought I'd...
Billy Barty is smaller than Mickey Rooney.
No, that's why I went to Billy Barty.
Who was smaller, Mickey Rooney or Danny DeVito?
Oh, Danny DeVito.
Really?
Oh, Danny DeVito is like, are you okay? It was like, you know what? It was like when I saw Paul Simon in concert, and I was in the front row, and I thought, goodness, my gosh, are you going to be okay?
Well,
I mean, so little.
Well, I told you that I met both Paul and Art Garfunkel
Yeah, right.
when I was in college at University of Michigan. And seeing them, I always thought Art Garfunkel was really tall.
Garfunkel looked like he was 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but he was actually shorter than me. So that shows you how short Paul Simon. Both really nice guys.
Oh,
so.
excellent. And you said they had nice soft hands when you shook their hands?
Well, that surprised me. But I guess because all he did was play guitar and, you know, and not working out in the garden.
No, but his fingers would probably have calluses from playing the guitar.
Yeah, the hands seemed a little effeminate to me.
Okay, so back to the gardening show here.
Sue wrote that in Allied Gardens they got 5.5 inches of rain. 5.6.
Oh, I've got 5.8 on mine.
What?
Yep.
How is yours different than mine?
Well, I think different areas of the county.
No,
right?
we're reading the same comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
She wrote, oops, 5.8.
Yeah.
All right. Monday through Friday. When should I plant sunflowers? Looking forward to Costa Rica. Sunflowers.
Not till the weather warms up.
Yeah, you probably wait till March.
Yeah, probably. Let's see, San Diego, maybe.
Could you start them in seed now? Or
Well, you could, but why?
right. Like, but
There's
what
no
I'm saying
reason.
is, you know, sometimes you start seeds before you would plant a plant. So
Yeah, but usually don't do that with things that germinate readily.
so quickly.
Things like corn, peas, beans. If you start those, squash, if you start them indoors and then move them outdoors, you've got that transition period, which is rough on them, and they don't get as big as they would if you put the seeds directly in the ground. So usually you want the sunflowers to be tall.
And you, as like you say, they germinate so
Right.
quickly and so easily that you can just throw those out there.
Yeah, if you have a bird feeder, you're going to have sunflowers coming up down below, right?
They scare me.
What, sunflowers?
Big face, big old.
Oh,
You know?
I planted a slope with probably 2 packages of seeds of sunflowers a couple of years ago, and it was so cool that those green parrots that we have that flock of
Sure.
in San Diego,
Right.
they came to the yard one day just to feed on all of them. It was really cool to watch.
Wow.
No, they're cool plants. They look really. I mean, but they're so big. I mean,
Yeah.
just when it come into fruition.
Yes.
Well, now there's a lot of different types. There's florist types that are sprays, and then there's smaller flowers, and then there's giant ones. There's one that gets to be, I can't remember the variety right now, but it gets to be like 18 to 20 feet tall.
Oh my goodness.
I like the ones that grow and they're
That's
already
bigger.
salted.
That's bigger than the mammoth one, right? The mammoth sunflower.
Yeah.
That's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And that's the big one.
This one I think is called, maybe one of our listeners knows, but I think it's called American something.
Already salted. You like
There's
the
one
ones
called
with the ranch dressing flavoring on them?
I do. They grow that way, and they're pre-salted. I love that.
love
Saves
that.
a lot of time and energy. I'm surprised that Major League Baseball doesn't have their own sunflower garden.
Someone mentioned that they have their daffodils are blooming, and then
Somebody said mine too, right?
and then Lenore also mentioned her irises. My paper whites are all starting to bloom right now too. It's really cool, and
Well, that's
I think
really late, right?
it is. 'Cause I
'Cause
think it's
don't-
been so.
Oh, were these new?
No, they're the ones that have been in the ground.
Because normally they bloom in October.
Yeah, I don't know. I
November.
mean, these
You're
are
either late or really early.
depends on how you look at it, right?
No.
But this is one of those plants also that people either like or hate the fragrance, right? Paper whites.
I don't remember. I'm trying to think if I've ever smelled one.
It's
Did you bring any in?
probably, yeah. I'll bring some in next week.
Right.
We talked about this before, though.
Either
Yeah,
you
that
like it or
there's
you don't
different-
like it.
different
Well, there's
ones.
different varieties, and there's one called Ziva that, and there's been some new varieties since then, but this is go back 20 years ago. There was Ziva and Galilee. And Galilee had a really good fragrance that I never met anybody that didn't like it. But Ziva was, to some people, kind of nauseating. But that's the only one you could buy because box stores were able to buy those a penny or 2 pennies cheaper than the other one. And when you're selling hundreds of thousands,
It adds
Adds
up.
up.
penny adds up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lenore, do you see her question?
When can I put my
Right.
Snapdragon, Cyclamen, and cilantro seeds down? I mean,
Too early for cilantro, unless that's something
Yeah.
you could start indoors, right?
yeah, and keep indoors.
Right.
Yeah, why not, right?
Have it right there, ready to go.
I was
for it.
growing those. I was growing cilantro in the veggie pod before you came and picked it up.
Yeah,
Really good.
cilantro is great for containerize or keep close by you. Because
You know
out
what
there,
I don't like about cilantro?
it bolts.
The flavor.
See, that's another thing. No, either you do or you don't like
No,
it.
I
And
can't,
I love it.
I can't tolerate it. Even before I had taste problems, I could not eat cilantro.
Can you not tolerate it, or do you just not put up with it?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
All right.
Do you still have that kind of gag reflex to some foods
Oh, yeah.
that you developed when you hit your head?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Don't you see him
So far, anything in the onion family, any
It's no-go.
alliums, right?
when
no,
he walks into the studio? Do
no
you see him
onion.
kind of gagging and coughing before?
next week? Let's
Before he
have
joins us?
some like cilantro, onion, carne asada burritos.
You know, my wife Dana had the same thing when it comes to caraway seeds, rye bread.
Oh, I have the same thing with those. Yeah.
Oh,
really?
She just
Yeah.
she
Really?
I
She had
thought
a
it
bit-
was rye for a while, but it's not rye. It's,
the-
caraway
It's the
seeds.
seed. She something in her childhood,
Yeah.
and so to this day, it's
Really?
and I love it. I'm making toast, sandwiches.
I'm with you, Dana.
I don't think I and I'm not trying to brag or any like.
Yeah,
but
you
I
are.
just
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
but I just don't think that there's any food that I have that reaction to. Any food that's a food.
Well,
you
nothing
know.
makes me gag, but I don't.
Yeah.
There's things I don't like.
Yeah, but I just nothing that makes me like, oh, I can't eat that.
How about liver?
No, I mean liver
Really?
and onions. It's
Raw
good.
liver. What about raw liver?
No.
That would make you
What
gay.
about
That would make
what
me
about
gay.
brains or tongue?
I have had both of those, and it's definitely not. I didn't gag because I mean, if you really think about when you eat those foods,
Right.
they're prepared in a way in
Sure.
a meal. Like I'm not just eating that.
You know what
Straight
I've had,
up.
what I've had a few times, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just take a chance and try it, and I loved it. But it had a lot to do with how it was prepared. Snails, escargot.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just butter
Oh,
and garlic and
oh,
onions.
so
and,
good.
I probably couldn't eat them now because of the
Yeah.
garlic, but I like snails.
These were decollete snails. I was surprised.
oh my gosh, Veronica says cilantro smells like gasoline.
You know what?
What?
Let me tell you
Everyone-
this.
Everyone's
No
different.
way.
Every Italian has a horror story about how they went to buy Italian parsley and by mistake
They bought
came home with cilantro.
I like where we're going here. We're going to take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. Coming right back, of course. Facebook Live, keep the questions, the comments coming. Those on Biz Talk Radio, we love you. Thank you for tuning into last week's show. Back after these messages. Hey, how about that? We are back, and goodness gracious, this is the last segment of hour number 1 if you are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, just like that. News coming up top of the hour. We come back at 6 minutes after, John, for Biz Talk Radio. Facebook Live, doesn't matter. We keep one long flow going. It's a flow, John. A flow.
Hey, Tiger pointed out during the break we didn't finish Lenore's question. She wanted to know if I believe plants she was talking about, whether she could put in snapdragons or cyclamen now. And yeah, they need to go in when the weather's cool because the heat they don't like. And a lot of people buy cyclamen as little gift plants and have them indoors, and they don't last very long indoors.
Nope. They like it to be
You know,
cool.
if you are going to keep them indoors, put them out overnight. Leave them outside overnight. That'll help.
You know what's funny about Veronica's comment is I love the smell of gasoline.
So does my wife.
I do.
When we lived in Michigan, she used to love going to my parents' house because we would go in through the garage and she could smell the gasoline.
Yeah. Something about it.
Brian just puts his face down right there as he's pumping.
You know,
That vapor arrestor.
a really stupid thing I did in junior high, ninth grade. I was working in stagecraft, building for the different plays that were put on and stagecraft stuff. And there was a janitorial closet right across the hallway, and they kept all the supplies in there. And there was something that smelled really good. It was kind of a bleachy smell. Mm-hmm. So I opened up this one bottle, and that was it. And I put my nose in there and took a big whiff. I fell right back onto the ground. It just literally knocked me over.
What was it?
Kind of a
Some kind of cleaning
some
with
kind of a cleaning
solution?
bleachy thing that kind of had a nice aroma from afar. So I thought, why not stick your nose in there and get a good whiff? Which I did.
And lost about 1,000 brain cells.
never
at the
done it
same
since.
time. You don't remember.
When I was in junior high, my cousin and I and some of our friends would always play with different chemicals. Mm-hmm. And we mixed something together that produced that type of reaction. And I was able to look up what we had created later on, and it said causes permanent lung damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you took a big whiff of it?
Yeah, it almost knocked me out, like you're talking
Yeah,
about.
well, I went right back on the floor. Almost hit my head.
And you know
Ammonia.
how retentive I am, so all my life I keep thinking, I've got lung damage. Can't breathe because I have lung damage
From that one time.
from that one time.
Paula said it was ammonia. Ammonia does have an interesting
Yeah, you know what?
fragrance,
You're
and
right.
It does knock you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how smart our listeners and viewers are? What we don't know, they fill in the gaps. Everyone's got a gap, right?
Yeah.
They fill the gap for us whenever we can't remember something or figure it out.
North County Fair.
At the shopping center?
Yeah, they used to have a gap. I don't know if they do anymore.
John, you can stop shopping at Forever 21. I just wanted to mention that.
when I was in Hawaii, it was interesting to go to the National Botanic Garden over there
Uh-huh.
because they had their plants arranged by families and genera. So it was kind of cool to walk through all the heliconias and the gingers. But then a lot of the house plants we see that we're too cold for in San Diego. Calatheas are good house plants, but you can't really keep them outdoors. And prayer plants, but to see maybe 20 or 30 kinds used as ground covers and all grouped together was really cool.
Did he say we're too cold in California to grow something?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just outside.
Tropicals. That's why we're called subtropical.
Like a submarine as opposed to just a marine? Like that. One or two things are going through his mind. He's really thinking about that, or what an idiot.
Yeah. No, there's two things. There's one of two things going through his mind. He's thinking, what an idiot, or he's trying to get some clever comeback. He's not really thinking about it.
That does
I don't-
swirl around
clever
his mind.
comeback.
You know, you guys should know by now, I don't think about clever comebacks. It just comes
populate.
out,
Right.
and it's either a hit or a miss.
Yeah.
But-
and unfortunately for Facebook, we don't have a 7-second delay dump button.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, see, for the network Biz Talk, when I go back and edit and
You
put
can
it together,
pull it out.
oh, I can pull it out. And yeah.
Right.
In fact, I've done that before where there was like maybe 10 seconds of something like, why did we talk about
you know, we
that?
got a lot of elections coming up in politics and stuff, and all I do is just deny I ever said it. Even if they say, well, we heard it. It's right there on Facebook.
And I got a buddy of mine that
Wasn't me.
I went to junior high and high school with who says that explains a lot back in those days.
Yeah.
And I think he's referring to the story I told about sniffing.
Sniffing whatever.
ammonia,
You don't even know what it
bleach.
was.
No, I just know it smelled good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We go way back, 50 some odd years.
Did you see any new plants when you were at the botanical garden that
Oh,
were
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
to you?
There were some heliconias that, a rattlesnake heliconia that, let's see if I can show you the picture and not lose my place on Facebook.
Heliconias are probably one of the most standout plants in Hawaii because they're so unique looking and different than what other people have growing, you know, wherever they're at. A lot of people that come obviously from the Midwest and in the East Coast, they don't have those at all. So
Isn't that
when
a
you-
cool heliconia?
Oh, wow, that is. It looks like a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Let's see that.
Like
Let's
a
see.
really
Would that look
good-
good?
Rattlesnake tail.
Just went
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. You can hold it.
But
Is it? Am I
they're-
holding it correctly?
Yes.
Angle
perfect.
a little more to your left.
That way?
Keep going. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but
perfect, John.
you know that you don't see those, and you don't see those as house plants because they don't really make good house plants. So it's very regional in the sense of, you know, where they grow. You'll see them, but you don't see them outside of that.
Also, the
but
height
such
on
cool.
some of them really surprised me. Like, usually you think of gingers and things like being, 5-6 feet max?
Max
These were like 20 feet tall.
Wow.
Some of them.
and standing up on their own.
Yeah.
because they're kind of floppy too. You know,
Yeah.
like when you
They
see the
kind of
plant,
arched over.
you know, when you see the plant like 5 to 6 feet, it kind of like looks like, oh, that'll just blow over. But, you know, those are really neat colors too. That was what would you call that? A peachy kind of a
Yeah, it was
sand
kind
color?
of a peachy color. Peachy
Yeah.
Veronica
apricot,
wants to
maybe.
know if it'll
Reds,
grow here.
whites.
No.
Will not
Heli-
grow here.
A lot of gingers grow here, but almost no heliconias. There is that Heliconia latispatha, which will grow here and does well, but the flower's not as spectacular as
Okay,
like
it
the
is break
lobster
time.
claw. And
Yeah.
why don't we take a break?
We're going to take a
Brian?
news break for Biz Talk Radio. Coming back at 6 minutes after, as far as you're concerned. Hopefully you catch both shows, or I should say both hours. If you do want to watch our show live, go to our Facebook page, Garden America Radio Show, each and every week, and you can tune in. Watch us live, 8 o'clock on the West Coast, 11 o'clock Eastern Time Zone. Back after the news, back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. All righty. If you are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, welcome to hour number 2. Dos, we are back. Facebook Live, John. I know you're excited about the second hour for Biz Talk.
Hey, by the way, I was thinking of our listeners in Lansing because they're not planning anything right now, right?
Right.
Way to rub it in.
But well, the reason I bring it up is because we have a spathiphyllum in our house. Shannon's in charge of all the house plants that just had, I think it was like 9 blossoms on it. But when we were in Hawaii, I saw this one growing in the ground that had variegated foliage, and so I looked up online. I don't know if I can put that up there.
Yeah, try it again, John. That's good. We'll get the camera on that.
Okay. So there's a lot with variegated leaves, so when they're not in bloom, they still look good. And I was surprised to see online that there's maybe 5 or 6 variegated varieties of spathiphyllum.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like it.
Peace lily.
That is a common name, peace lily. Wonder where I got that name from.
Yeah, I'm working on getting that going.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Paul and Lenore mentioned that they have trouble with ginger, and any suggestions. So, ginger here in Southern California can be difficult to grow. There's a few varieties that you can grow here, kind of more ornamental varieties. There's, which one, I don't even know if I guess it's not a ginger, but cardamom kind of grows like a ginger plant. Mm-hmm. That one's very hardy if you just want the foliage and the look of it. But a lot of those ones with the flower, they're kind of tough to grow. You have to have a really mild area. So I would even say, East County, San Diego, can't grow them very well.
They don't like a dry heat.
Yeah.
So like you're saying East County in the summer, you're going to get near 100 and it's dry.
Yeah.
So that's not good for them. Along the coast, they do much better, but red ginger does okay. Shell ginger's a pretty common one, and white ginger.
Yeah.
Kahili ginger?
Kahili is the white ginger.
Kahili is the... it's white, but it's got kind of a yellowish cast to it.
Oh, okay.
Good fragrance.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of those.
And then
in the
there's
coastal
those
towns.
little dwarf ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's that pink one from Thailand called? Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
Nope.
They're only like knee high.
Knee-high
they're
gingers.
curcumas.
Curcuma?
Curcuma. Maybe it's cucuma. I don't know.
When's the last time you had a knee high?
Grape,
strawberry. I
only
don't
remember
see it
knee-high
around
grape.
anymore. Yeah. Well, it's an old soda, knee high.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's like some of the old root beers that no longer exist.
You always used to drink yours on the 4th of July.
Is that some
You
song,
waited till now
movie?
to bring that out?
No, well, you're not from the Midwest.
No, I'm from right here.
Right, but the saying in the Midwest is...
Knee high to a grasshopper?
No, that when you plant your corn, it needs to be, in order to have a good crop, it needs to be knee high by the 4th of July.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So you never heard that? You didn't get what I said?
I
That's
did.
why I was telling you, I really don't think of these things before I say them.
But what if you're like 6'8", 6'9", or 5'2"? Does the same thing apply?
Or like a
The
child.
distance between your foot, the ground, and your knee?
Yeah, those really tall farmers,
Yeah.
they just were plagued to never have a good year because they can never get it up.
There aren't any sports teams named after farmers that I'm aware of. You don't hear the Detroit Farmers,
No, you don't, do you?
Minneapolis Farmers.
Or the cattle rustlers.
No. So anyway, I think farmers are relatively the same high. Anyway,
Tanya, you're correct. Didn't Radar and MASH drink knee highs?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, there was reference to that in MASH.
really,
That's very good, Tanya. I think she's right, yeah. And it would have been popular back then in the early 50s during the Korean War.
yeah. There was a really popular soda brand. I was going to say pop because did you know that, Tiger? That
Some people say pop.
in the
others
Midwest,
soda.
Midwest, they say.
nobody says soda because soda is something that you have ice cream in.
Okay.
Ice cream with
Ice cream soda.
Right. But soft drinks are called pop. It's so. And then some parts of the country they call it Coke.
Yeah.
Just generic. I'll have a Coke.
like I'll have a Coke. Okay, what kind do you want? I'll have grape.
I remember years ago at Jack in the Box ordering a Coke. She goes, "We don't have Cokes." I go, "What do you have?" "We have Jack Cola." "Okay, give me a Jack Cola." But you're right. It's like Kleenex. That's a brand name.
Right.
People say, hand me a Kleenex, give me a Kleenex, which shows good branding, right?
Yeah.
I was going to make a point. I forgot what it was.
You were talking about soda pop.
How about chapstick?
Oh, yeah.
There's another one.
In Detroit, there's a really famous brand of soda called Faygo.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it, right? But they had, I think their most famous one was called Rock and Rye. You don't see it anymore.
A lot of things you don't see. There's several YouTube channels that cover the same thing, like a look back in time or, reminiscing and all the things that we used to drink and enjoy that no longer exist. Products that came out were good for 2 or 3 years, then disappeared because nobody bought the product.
I couldn't find any Ipana toothpaste.
I remember that.
Do you remember the Brusha? Use the new Ipana?
I remember.
It's dandy for your teeth.
I wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent.
Pepsodent's still out there, though, I think
so,
right?
Yeah. John, we have a question. Maybe you can help out with this.
Back to gardening, ladies and
What
gentlemen.
about Dicorisandra thricefolia or blue ginger?
Oh, Dicorisandra is it has to be grown in the shade, and it will grow here, but does need to be in the shade. And again, doesn't really like the heat, and it's kind of a weak grower, I think. I've never had. I grew some under a tree in Fallbrook, pepper tree at my old house, but never did really well. But it did bloom.
Yeah,
Carla's got an orchid question. Yes.
And Lenore says, one of my tomato plants has one branch with 4 flowers. So her tomatoes are starting. Orchid question. I rescued a couple of them and left them at the curb of my neighborhood. I inadvertently left them in too much sun and the leaves burned and have rotted. So much for the rescue. My rescue. The roots still look good. Any chance they come back?
Once an orchid takes a beating like that?
She didn't write the variety of orchid. Maybe Phalaenopsis, moth orchid, since that's the most maybe common one out there if you're going to be rescuing them.
Well, if you've got those air roots, you have to go back to the center part where they're coming from. If that is rotted out, they're not going to come back. Mm-hmm. But even if the leaves are off, if that's still green, there's a good chance. And that reminds me, have you ever been to the International Orchid Show in Santa Barbara?
No.
We need to make a trip.
All
you
right.
want to go? It's May 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Which is that Mother's Day weekend?
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So Sunday might be Mother's Day?
Yeah.
It's possible, but I was thinking maybe we go up there Friday.
Okay.
You want to go?
Yeah.
You want to take the day off
I'll
and go?
probably spend money, though.
This thing...
That's what you usually do.
I mean, yeah, but I mean like buying
Lots
something
of
you
money,
shouldn't buy.
But like you're going to come back broke?
Well, you're not able to go to the Green Sand Beach, so you should go to the Orchid Show.
Go to the Orchid Show.
I mean, it's unbelievable. You can look it up online, the Santa Barbara Orchid Show, and there's hundreds and hundreds of vendors. People come from all over the world. Mm-hmm. Just take a look at it.
Right, just think it's only 4 hours away from us.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I want to go with one of you guys or both you guys so that we can share the driving. And by share the driving, Tiger knows what that means.
Yeah, but I'll
drive and then John rides.
I don't want to pull over. I want to change seats while we're driving.
Oh, that'll be fun. Good luck.
Well, I'll be in the back. I don't care what you guys do. I'll be sleeping in the back.
Paul is asking, do you start it with grocery store tubers? Ginger, that is.
That's edible ginger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can if you want to grow edible ginger, but the flower of edible ginger is nothing to shake
Get
a
excited
stick
about.
at.
Yeah. The flower in the edible ginger is not kind of like the cardamom, like I had mentioned. Like
Right.
great plant, hardy, tough, looks cool, smells wonderful, but you're not buying it for the flower like you see when people see ginger, they see this really exotic-looking flower.
Okay, break time.
Not it.
We're going to stay on track. Keep the format rolling for Biz Talk Radio. Do stay with us. Facebook Live, Biz Talk Radio. Welcome to Garden Compass. All righty, here we go. Keep on rolling right along here on Garden America. That's who we are and have been for quite some time, John. Since 2008, I believe.
Really?
This
that
edition,
long ago?
This edition of the Garden Show. Yeah, 2008.
Before that, we were...
Garden Compass.
No.
Garden Life.
Garden Life.
Garden Life, that's right.
Yeah.
Then Garden
Before
Compass.
that, we were Garden Compass.
And then...
Before that, it was the West Coast Garden Line over the hedge.
Right.
Oh,
No.
Ken Brinkman posted on my page. He found an old show of Bruce Asakawa, the opening, and it's and I think maybe I was engineering at the time.
Really?
But it starts off with Chuck Cooper was doing the voice over the announcer, and it goes to Bruce, and Bruce starts as welcome to West Coast Garden Line, and the whole bit. And I thought, wow, this brings back memories. I don't know where he found it. Anyway.
Carlos' question, Phalaenopsis. I think John answered that as far as if it's the core of the root.
Right, the
system
center
is
from where all
okay,
the roots are coming
it'll
from.
come back. But
Right.
if not, trash. I don't know where Shake a Stick At It came from. I don't know. Maybe John knows the
I've got an idea
origin.
for a video, though, a quick video with that very same thing.
And we still have Fago in Michigan. Red Pop. Oh, must be talking about a soda. A pop.
I wonder if
Fago,
that
they still have
Cheryl.
it.
that is either my sister-in-law or my brother using my sister-in-law's account. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Red Pop is popular. It was an old commercial, and it was one of those Disney character actors that did the commercial, and a little boy goes up and says that he wants something to drink, and the guy says, "Well, what flavor?" And he says, "What do you got?" And he goes through all the flavors that they have, and the last one he mentions is Red Pop. And the little boy goes, "I'll have a Red Pop."
Like not grape, not cola.
I mean, there was probably like
orange.
12 he went through in the
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
And
But they want the red.
want
What
the
flavor?
Red Pop.
What flavor
I
is
think it's
red?
kind of a strawberry type thing, strawberry cherry maybe.
The answer is your brother.
It is my brother.
Yeah.
That's my brother Tom. You never met my brother Tom.
No, have not.
My brother Tom is, all four of my
He's
parents.
listening.
All four of my grandparents
All
were
four of
born.
my parents?
All four of my grandparents.
Okay.
You never know today. There's all kinds of things going on, right? But back then, you only had two parents,
Right.
and four grandparents.
Oh, the traditional family.
right.
Okay.
And all four of my grandparents were born in Italy, so I have Italian heritage. So Italians aren't really tall, right? So I'm like 5'9", 5'10",
On a good day.
With the shoes.
and usually dark hair. My brother is like 6'1", 6'2", has blonde hair, blue eyes.
Oh wow.
Some
That's
genes
questionable.
skipped genes someplace, right?
Either that, or they used to joke about the milkman or the mailman.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the milkman, he was tall and had blonde hair too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not accusing, but you never know.
You know what's funny is that was probably like a big talk of the town too when that happened early. Before they really kind of got into genetics and
Yeah.
recessive genes and all this stuff.
Right.
If they saw a kid that was from parents that seemed out of whack, yeah. I love your face.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. You can say the same thing for plants, right? Be like, oh, where did that plant come from?
Veronica, Northern Italian.
Oh, for the
Same
tall,
here.
for the height, or
Same
for the
here,
short.
from Piemonte.
Why didn't we visit there when we were there?
We drove through it on our way. We were doing the Italian Riviera. Were
Right.
you on that one?
Yes.
The one where we went into France,
Yes.
into Mentone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we drove through Piemonte.
You don't remember that?
I do, because that was around the same time we went to that flea market or swap meet. And I ran into... Remember that?
Yeah.
How would you like to be someplace in Europe? Just, could be anywhere. Hey, tiger.
Yeah.
You
It's
look
crazy,
around,
right?
and you see somebody you went to high school with. And the fact they still recognized me, that made my day.
Yeah.
I think they recognized your voice.
Well,
Was
maybe.
your voice radio like back then? I think you told me once you trained yourself to talk the way you do now.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah. I know it was a lot higher when you were 13.
Hey, Tom says the milkman was 5'5".
I think I told you guys this,
That's
but
great.
my mom used to have, actually, she had a dislike for the milkman because we used to have a milk chute. Do you know what those are?
Not a clue.
I don't know. We had a milkman, but not any chutes.
Okay, well, this was on the side of the house, and it would you'd open a door, and the milkman would put the milk in there. And then from the other side, inside the house, you would open another door and take the milk out.
It's like a mailbox that goes directly into your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sometimes he would push it too far, and it would fall on the steps, and they were all glass
So
bottles.
it just
So it would break, and it would leak through the steps into it. We had a little cubby hole
Oh, my God.
down there where my mom would keep.
old milk, like dry milk.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and it
yuck.
would get on curtains and
Yeah.
whatever she had stored back there, clothes and things
Yeah.
like that.
That's terrible.
And it happened 2 or 3 times. But the milk chute was big enough that when my parents would lock themselves out of
You
the
would climb
house,
through there?
they would push me through the milk chute. It was always scary for me because as a little kid, I'm going in, but then there's stairs down there. So,
Go
I
on,
don't
John.
have...
You'll be okay. Go ahead. Shove him in there.
Yeah.
We had a milkman, but he came through a side door. We just left the door open. He'd just come and go as he pleased.
Did they used to take a picture with their cell phone when they delivered it too, to post it so you would get the email confirmation?
There were no cell phones in the 60s.
Just kidding. Like Amazon. Milkman, how
mean
long?
like Amazon? How was our delivery?
Wait a minute. Do they still have those at houses back east? Can Amazon use that to deliver packages? Little chutes?
I don't know. If
How
they
long
have
until
milk.
we
No,
get-
I
that'd
don't
be a
think
lot
so.
better.
How long until we get chutes for Amazon to drop
We've
your
had a few
packages in?
packages misdelivered.
One of our loyal listeners who's now passed away and gone on trips with us, Chuck, was a milkman.
Really?
Yeah.
And a Coke man.
Chuck and Rochelle.
Oh, that's right. I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, was he just Coke? I thought for some reason he was milk also.
Well, no, I think that's. I mean, Coke was later from what I talked about.
He
I don't know,
he
maybe
delivered
was milk
beverages.
before. Yeah, he delivered all kinds of beverages.
Yeah,
But he
Milkman,
worked for Coke. I
Milkman
remember
was
that.
before your time, right?
Oh yeah, way before my time.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, maybe not way, but
Nah,
definitely not.
Not way, but before.
Yeah.
What about the the Fuller Brush man?
Yeah.
Did you have those?
Yeah, exactly. Avon calling. They'd knock on your door, ring the doorbell. Ding dong. Avon calling. You remember that, don't you?
Remember that. I can't remember what the Fuller Brush man had, though.
Rochelle says, was a milkman before Coke.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Hey, we're
Yeah,
going to take a
so-
break. We've got a couple more segments to go. Yeah, we'll get back to gardening, but, sometimes
Got a
we drift
question
off.
about a possible upcoming trip when we come back,
Okay,
too.
we'll deal with that too. It is Garden America. Welcome. I'm Brian Main, Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco. We love you. Thank you for joining us on Biz Talk Radio and Facebook Live. Garden America has returned from that fantastic break. That was one of our better breaks for both Biz Talk Radio and Facebook Live.
Not completely broken, though.
No, not at all.
No, it was a minor break.
You know the old funny news quip, when news breaks, we fix it.
Well done.
Hey, talking about a possible trip,
Yes.
we are sold out going to Costa Rica. And we're anxiously looking forward to that. In April 20th, we leave, right?
It's a Sunday. So we leave on Sunday, which is the 20th. The trip
Right.
officially kicks off on the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have very few regrets
What are you, Frank Sinatra?
being
Did it
a
his
part
way?
of Garden America. But one regret I've had was COVID. And during COVID, we had planned what I thought was going to be a phenomenal trip.
Creme de la creme. This was going to be it.
Yeah, it was going to be awesome. We were going to go to Slovenia to the International Wildflower Festival. And then we had all kinds of things planned going from there to Austria into the Czech Republic.
Vienna.
Really unique horticultural chew.
Yeah.
To the area.
Yeah, we custom designed this trip just for not only gardeners, but friends of gardeners who maybe would just like to do beer tasting rather than visit a garden. But anyway, so that trip actually got canceled twice because of COVID. So now that we're sold out on Costa Rica, I'm wondering if we have any people out there who would be interested in us putting this trip together again, or if not, is there somewhere else you'd like to visit?
I like that. Give him a choice.
So,
Where
yeah.
would you like to go?
Yeah, send us a note.
I know you wanted to go to the Calgary Stampede one year. That fell through.
You know what I was trying to organize one year was a visit to Iceland and Greenland.
You know, I've seen some videos recently of people that have gone to Iceland. I can see why you wanted to go there.
Yeah.
So unique. And it has, I think, more waterfalls than almost any other country in the world, just in that one little island. And you know what's interesting about Greenland, Iceland? It's actually the reverse.
You're right.
They called it Greenland because they were trying to entice people to go. And it's actually more like icy and not as inviting.
I don't think they were trying to get people to go. I think they were trying to keep them away from Iceland.
Okay, keep them away from, okay, all
Yeah.
right. So thus the names. But Iceland, Greenland,
I don't think very many people go to Greenland, so that's why I wanted to include that in the trip. And you have to go in the middle of summer or the hot part of summer, so I think that for them that's August.
we fly into Reykjavik.
Because Reykjavik, in August, the temperatures in Greenland go up to the 50s, like low 50s.
Oh, that's a
So that would be the time to go when it's nice
heat
and
wave,
warm.
right?
That's toasty.
Yeah. But anyway, I think there's some cool wildflowers, and I think I know they have a hotel there that actually has 6 of the rooms are igloos. That would be kind of fun,
That'd be
wouldn't
fun,
it?
right? That'd be fun for a night.
But anyway, I don't think we're
Yeah, we're way off the beaten track now.
I don't think we're going to do that. But anyway,
You know, don't
We'll
forget
see.
Japan.
I don't know. Yeah.
Japan
We
is.
mentioned that before.
You know,
we
I-
mentioned that before.
we had a whole. We
Just-
might be traveling all next year.
just communicating with Sharon, who's just got back from Sharon Asakawa, just got back from Japan,
Yeah.
and she said we need to set up a trip to Japan.
See,
Yeah.
But the problem, I don't know.
well,
Anyway,
we're
let us know
tossing
what
it
you
out
want to
there.
do. Right. We're up for anything, right?
Yep.
let's go back and make sure we're caught up on
Yeah.
the questions
So
here.
Rick did ask when bare root trees arrive, and Rick's in Idaho.
Yes.
So do they get them later than us?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
for us, it's now. Bare roots have already
They start
arrived.
coming in December, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And roses. Matter of fact, I think if you're in warm climates, they're starting to discount the prices on roses.
they're already selling them out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or independent garden centers usually pot them up, right?
Yep. Yeah. We're Rick in Idaho, maybe what? March?
I would think-
April?
Yeah, I would think March.
Yeah.
I know when I lived in Detroit, the bare roots came in mid to late April
Okay.
because the soil was
too-
frozen. You couldn't dig a hole.
I mean, that's just it, right? Is like
Right.
it's not so much a matter of them arriving because they can almost arrive even in the colder areas anytime after they go dormant. It's more a matter of what you can do with it once you have it. And if it's so cold and the ground is so hard or you have snow, you can have the bare root tree all you want, but you can't do anything with it.
Mary says Australia,
Australia.
New Zealand. The only
You want to go back to New Zealand?
Yeah, I would love to go back to New Zealand. The only thing is that New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa, those are going to be really expensive trips.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Because they're so far away. But that is something to consider. I would consider that. And Lila says that she and her husband would be happy to do that trip to Slovenia or Ireland or Japan.
Ireland or
Yeah, Ireland or Japan also.
Ireland would be another.
What were we looking at? Oh,
That-
was that Portugal?
They both, because we talked about what's the island right off Portugal?
Yeah. What is that? The Azores.
Azores.
Yeah, the Azores and then into Portugal.
Because you said, surprisingly enough, the Azores have a lot of beautiful flora, fauna.
Yeah. I don't know about the fauna, but lots
Well,
of
I'm into
flora.
flora. I'll put up with the fauna if I have to.
And Merriweather. So, yeah, those are good ideas. Green thumbs are on sale. They're bare
Buy
root.
one, get one.
Buy one, get one free.
Mary just planted 9 bare root trees in Tucson. Hey, I think you sent me to, or you took me to a rose enthusiast house out there in La Mesa area off of the 125, and they're all in the front yard.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Isaac has lacrosse practice right down the street from that house now, so I drive by there twice a week, and I've always remembered. And that house is just loaded
All the way around?
all
She's
the way around.
got a corner lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
The median is all planted up with roses.
all roses.
I was just there this week
Okay.
to pick up the fertilizer I told you about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a past president of the San Diego Rose Society, and so she puts together that order every year for roses. But her roses were all pruned back. She said she's going to fertilize them in about 3 weeks, and she's been written up in magazines and
Yeah.
Why, what'd she do?
newspapers.
Just rose. She just has a lot of roses.
Yeah, for this little corner lot in the city, she has, I think, like 450 roses.
Yeah.
Last time I was written up, it was not a good thing.
Yeah. So and by the way, on that fertilizer, yes, I can order it. So I can order it from directly from them and
Oh, really?
through Site One Landscape Supply. And Rick, he was thinking of planting a pluot. What do you think? Idaho pluot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would plant flavor grenade.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Flavor
That's a good
grenade.
name.
Yeah.
Flavor grenade for
It's a taste,
anything.
Brian, that explodes in your mouth.
Yes, so. Flavor grenade.
Yeah, I would definitely. The pluots are the new interspecific hybrids. So hybrids between two species. And a pluot is an apricot crossed with a plum, or a plum crossed with an apricot. One way they're called pluots, the other way they're called apriums.
Apriums.
Years ago, somebody was doing a commercial for one of the independent garden centers, and they were talking about pluots, and they said something like, or dinosaur eggs. You ever hear that?
Yeah, it
What
was
is
a
that?
marketing technique that they tried, and dinosaur eggs, that's a stretch, right?
I mean, even
I don't see how that
even I knew that
adds
there
anything.
weren't dinosaur eggs around.
Now that you're talking about fruit, the sumo mandarins are in the stores right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to breakfast with a bunch of guys yesterday and asked them, told them, hey, Albertsons has got sumo mandarins. And I think there were 5 or 6 other guys. None of them had ever heard of a sumo mandarin or tasted it.
Yeah.
And I have you ever tasted a mandarin better than that?
No.
I think they're by far the best. They're
And
called
easy
sumo.
to peel.
They're called sumos for 2 reasons. They're big, chubby, like
Right? Okay.
like a sumo wrestler, but they also have sumo wrestlers have their hair in a top knot, and this has got that top knot on the fruit where you can just pull it off and peel it. It's a zipper skin.
By the way, speaking of citrus, we harvested unbelievable.
From yours?
Yep,
Your
on the patio.
your gold nugget.
In fact, we have too many, so I think we're going to juice some.
Really?
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Well, you know, those hold until May.
Oh, so we're fine.
Yeah, you don't have to pick them right away. Some
Well, I picked a bunch of them. We got to take a break. We'll come back and continue. One more segment coming
Right.
up. Got to stay on track for Biz Talk Radio. This is Garden America. Stay with us. So just before the break, you said that they'll hold till May. I was in a rush to pick them. I was excited. I still have some on the tree, though.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the gold nugget mandarin is it has such a long ripening period where Satsuma mandarins are ready at Christmas and you got, Tiger, 2 weeks and you better pick them or they get puffy. But these are nice.
Puffy.
Puffy, the magic mandarin.
Veronica asked if there's a dwarf pluot. I don't know of a dwarf. I think they're
That's
only
semi-dwarf.
semi-dwarf.
Right.
Yeah, and the flavor grenade is a semi-dwarf, and then there's a dapple dandy, which is semi-dwarf. So
I don't know if they still have it, but another really good one was cotton candy.
I remember hearing that one before.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they still have that either.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if there's a dwarf, but
Tanya mentioned mandarins for the Chinese New Year,
yep.
which we
Is
are in right now.
And is it mandarins and also or no
Kumquats. Right.
Yeah,
Kumquat's the big thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think kumquats are the big thing too.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how obviously it makes sense when fruit align with certain holidays.
Right.
But then it's also really interesting when things don't align with, certain holidays. When plants that are real common, for, a specific time of year, but then that plant isn't always in bloom. The Easter lilies, they talk about with Easter, but you kind of force those to happen during Easter. They don't just kind of happen, naturally like that. And then calendula for, the marigolds for Halloween, for Dia de los Muertos. But
Calendula or marigolds?
right. But then I was going to say
calendula, right?
no, but they for the marigolds for October, sometimes that's kind of like a weird time for them as well. I don't always think that they align perfectly with that time of year.
It's only the giant marigolds they use, right?
Yep.
Those big.
Yeah.
Carla liked the loquat article.
Oh, you know what?
And I was going to mention that when you said kumquats, loquats, not something you hear much of.
I remember when you had mentioned that before, right?
Yeah, you there's different varieties of loquats, and I'm looking into planting some loquats, but we've talked before about how it's always good to plant fruit you can't easily buy.
Right.
You can't buy loquats anywhere unless maybe a roadside market because they don't ship. They bruise too easily. So that's one that you should plant. But there's different varieties. The one I was looking at is called Big Jim.
Big Jim loquat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most common is gold nugget. But if you're planting a loquat, try not to plant a seedling because just like with citrus from seed, you have no idea what you're going to get. If you want specific tastes or attributes, get one that's been grafted.
And start early trimming down the tree because there's no reason for you to have a big loquat tree, and they produce so much. They're like figs. You have to really harvest them, otherwise they are a giant rat and critter attractant.
It's a good thing we don't have a loquat sponsor for the show.
But they're such a great producer. I mean, people that love loquats, the
Do
only
you
way
like
to go.
loquats?
Yeah, they're delicious. Yeah.
They're really good.
I haven't had a loquat in years.
Yeah, because I mean,
can't
like John,
remember. Yeah.
John mentioned, like you don't find them.
Right.
The only place you're going to see that is a farmer's market,
Right.
or if you have a friend that has a tree.
As a matter of fact, years ago, friends of ours had a tree
Yeah.
in their backyard.
Or if you're walking by the sidewalk and there's one on the other side of the
It's just
fence.
kinda hanging
and
over
it's
the
hanging
fence?
over.
Or there's one within a block.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and what you said so true about keeping it low. There's no reason to.
Keep it low. It's a loquat.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick the high
Right?
quats.
High quats are,
Knee high.
knee high. Yes, knee high.
Knee high quat.
Lila says she heard that champagne was good. there's a variety, not the beverage, Brian.
I got you. Right,
Okay,
right.
but there's a variety of loquat called champagne. And yes, that also is a very good one. Tanya says her dogs like them.
That's funny.
They would find little piles of this seeds.
Funny. I think we're caught up.
Did we talk about Linda likes to juice her mandarins and then freeze the ice cubes and use them in mimosas?
Oh, wow.
There you go, Linda. And
Carla said that her son, this is just what we were talking about, brought home a loquat seed from school, and they planted it. It's about 6 feet tall now, but never any fruit. That's the problem with seedling fruits, like seedling avocados.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might end up with something really good, or you
Just don't know what you're going to get.
might have to wait 20 years
and
to
end
get
up
fruit.
with something that's not good.
Right.
So,
But
Tough.
if you have it, you could graft onto it if you can find someone who has a variety of
that
loquat.
you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We have exactly 2 minutes.
And then we're done.
Then we're done.
And then the next week.
Yeah, next week. Do we have a guest lined up for next
Yes,
week?
we do. Next week.
And this will be in the newsletter, by the way, those that subscribe to the newsletter. If not, go to our website, gardenamerica.com. You can click on the subscribe newsletter, and it arrives every Friday in your email.
Yeah,
You can keep up with Garden America.
Next week, timely time of year, we're going to talk about rain harvesting. So
Rain
rain
harvesting.
barrels.
And it might be raining that
capture
day.
systems. It might be.
Be raining because more rain is on the way.
Exactly.
I'm
So-
interested to hear this conversation because I always poo-pooed rain barrels.
You did.
Yeah, I don't see the reason.
Collect rainwater.
It doesn't make sense for you in the sense of like the volume, right? Like a 50-gallon barrel, you would use up in
An hour.
1 minute. 1 minute
Yeah,
of water.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But for
But-
the little guy,
Well,
Okay,
and-
so if you live on a small lot, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, or just the idea that if you can capture that water, the benefits of that water are better than.
Well, that's
you know,
true. Rainwater's good.
rainwater is very good. Oxygen, John, right?
What's
Oxygen.
not good is fire water,
Volume.
Brian.
Fire water.
It's
Hey,
all
thank
about
you so
volume.
much. That is going to do it. We do appreciate you tuning in. Tell your friends, tell your family if they've never watched the show before or listened, urge them to. We thank you for tuning in. Again, next week, as we mentioned, a guest going to be talking about collecting rainwater, Tiger. Next on Garden America. Thank you to those on Biz Talk Radio, Stephanie and the gang that keep us on the air, the rest of you who watch and support us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. And again, if it does rain, which it will soon, be safe in the rain. We'll do it again next week right here on Garden America. Take care.